Good morning, everyone. My name is Monique Calisti. I'm the coordinator of the EU-IoT Coordination and Support Action that provides support to the European Commission and to the whole community to grow the IoT, next generation IoT initiatives. Today we are here together for this virtual brokerage event. Unfortunately, we cannot be all together in the same physical location. We will try to do our best to make sure that people can connect, people can exchange ideas, discuss how to possibly join forces. We are here today to discuss the transition from cloud to edge to IoT for European data. Now I would like, if you allow me, while people are joining, to share my screen for a few slides so that I share with you some, some information about the day and about the scope of the event. I hope you can see my screen. Is in the right mode, or I should
please switch?
Yes, here we go. So I told you I'm Monique Calisti. I'm the CEO of Martel Innovate, and I've been involved in several activities within the context of the Cloud and IoT H2020 initiative. Now we are here for starting what is the forward-looking perspective towards Horizon Europe. Just a few rules. The plenary sessions will be recorded and published on the NGIoT's channel. So if you don't feel comfortable, be aware that you should probably leave the plenaries if you don't want to be involved. You can post questions and comments in the live discussion chats for the session. And you can also obviously help us making more visible and creating more awareness about the discussion that will take place today using the hashtag on social media IoT Brokerage event and tagging possibly the three channels that are indicated in this slide that are Digital EU, NetTech EU, and NGIoT for EU. If there's any problem, if at some point you have, disconnection, please send your questions either in the chat or at the info@ngiot.eu. Now, this first session, this first plenary session will see on stage Rolf Riemenschneider, that is the head of sector for IoT. Then we will have Haydn Thompson, founder and managing director of the THINK Group. There's something. Can we mute?
I am sorry, everybody, but could you please mute yourself when entering?
Okay.
And turn off the video if you're not.
Thanks a lot. So now I would like to leave the floor to Rolf that will take over, and then Haydn will continue. Rolf, the floor is yours. I will stop sharing my screen so that you can share yours.
Thanks, Monique. Hello, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thanks also to you, the EU-IoT team, to support the event. I have the pleasure to welcome you and to introduce you to sort of the start of a new program, a research innovation program, Horizon Europe, where we are pleased to introduce a topic where our unit, IoT, is involved, and to hopefully also attract your attention to that one. So I will share my screen and see if that works. The entire screen. Yes, we go there. I'm sharing. And you should be able to see the screen now.
Yes, all good, Rolf.
Yes.
So for those who have followed the Horizon Europe Info Days last week, there's not much of a new information. I will briefly introduce the what we call the destination, or the section, the group of the section. There's a destination under Horizon Europe, cluster 4, called World Leading Data and Computing Technologies, and that is a joint endeavor between our unit, the cloud unit, and the data unit in Luxembourg, as well as the AI unit. So I think we bring together, sort of a strategy or a ramp up a new strategy in the area of data and computing technologies. So actually, what we're talking about now is a group of topics under this Destination 3 of Horizon Europe, called From Cloud to Edge to IoT for European Data. So it's a group of topics. Not all are active now, but I will give you a bit of context in order to bring your attention to what's important now and what we have in the planning, in the midterm, and for the long term. Okay, now I have birds in the background. Good. Actually, under the Commissioner Breton, there's a strong emphasis on a European data strategy. I think you have noticed that one. A lot of initiatives going on in that area. So actually, a lot of momentum has been generated by advances in cloud computing and cloud technologies. Cloud infrastructures is one of the fastest growing sectors. Unfortunately, Europe is not in the lead on that one, and we're looking for an alternative related to the offers of only a few cloud providers. So what we're looking at is a federation of cloud infrastructure in Europe, provided on by European suppliers. We're looking at. The last point I wanted to mention is that we also follow and we take advice from the German French initiative in Gaia-X as they work on federation of data spaces and providing a sort of a technical architecture and a framework leading to interoperability standards. And the main work at the moment is related to basic, principal use cases as evidence for a technical architecture. So very useful in the context. We take their advice where it's useful. There's no mandatory participation of Gaia-X members in a consortia. I think that goes without saying. So actually,
this morning to inform about the situation with
there's again someone not muted.
From
I'm sorry, but we can only mute everybody and not some.
I sent that.
I will mute again everybody, and Rolf, you need to unmute again. I'm sorry for that. So Rolf, now you're muted as well. Please unmute, and everybody else stay unmuted, please. No, muted.
Okay, so
Sorry.
try again. So actually, what's the situation in the cloud market today? I briefly expanded on that one already. There is remarkable growth rates forecasted in the cloud market. Generated revenues raise, about at a 20% growth rate, annual growth rate. The biggest revenues are in infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or hosted private cloud services, also followed by enterprise software as a service revenues. But it's also not a secret that more than 75% of global public cloud markets are dominated by only 5 key main players. I don't name them, but we'll make reference to Amazon Web Services as a market leader with 33%, and Microsoft trying to catch up, particularly on industrial applications. Also others like Google, Alibaba, or Tencent, they're gaining market share with a remarkable growth rate of 50% in revenues. So for the time being, there are no European cloud providers featured globally above the top 10. And the question is, how to catch up and to benefit from that market opportunity. Looking at the cloud, the IoT perspective, you look at the picture. IoT things are connected through gateways, and majority of the IoT data, for the time being, goes to clouds storage. So also that is supported by market forecasts for the next 2-3 years. 70% of IoT revenues are cloud-centric. The cloud market is dominated by consumer wearables, mobile phones. There's low adoption rate on industrial IoT, like farming, energy, buildings, or manufacturing. So question is here, that the race for Europe is not lost, and still there's a remarkable opportunity. The market is at an early stage, and you did not lose the race against China or the leading cloud service providers. But of course, there's a small window of opportunity only. So actually, that's why we launched the initiative and topics and calls on this area to build on this trend. There will be massive growth in devices connected to the internet, which raises technology and policy challenges on a new scale. Looking at that, the digital environment with several devices and systems connected will be more heterogeneous and more complex, and that will continue to generate large volumes of data. So how to deal with this complexity? So one solution would be to decompose the systems into smaller systems, distributed systems, intelligent autonomous systems, and units for local decision making, what we call the edge. So we predict strong growth in data for industrial IoT and cyber physical systems, connecting local automation islands. I think that is a bit of the rationale. But this said, the cloud storage and cloud business will continue to grow, although that will raise the energy profile and will put more demands on building transport networks. Second point is that there are advances in computing, computer chips, processor chips, new types of processing architectures. Bringing that close to data offers new features like real-time, safety for deterministic and highly reliable automation and cloud processes, data security. If you do not send the data to central cloud storage, if you don't send it around the world, you reduce the complexity of security algorithms, you increase privacy for reducing the exposure surface. On energy efficiency, as said, if you don't have to build more and more data centers centrally, if you avoid overloading transport networks, it might be more energy efficient, reducing the carbon footprint and the environmental footprint. What we are aiming at to have a harmonized view on data processing from the cloud to edge to IoT, and data aggregation and analytics along what we call the computing continuum. So today and in the coming years, we see cloud as dominant computing feature, but in beyond 5 years, we expect that that notion will be reversed. Though 20% of all computing will take place in the cloud and 8% will move to the edge. So we focus on this decentralized approach with distributed and embedded intelligence, eventually through private 5G networks for mobile automation, automated ground vehicles, connected cars, and integrated logistics. So actually, here you see a simple picture. What we have today, what we're aiming at on the left-hand side is we expect more devices, more heterogeneity of devices, integrating more computing capacity, new types of processing, new types of distributed processing, integrating artificial intelligence and IoT. On the right-hand side, there will be cloud infrastructure with more features, cognitive features, building on existing business models. At the same time, established cloud providers have targeted already extending their business towards the place where the data is generated, towards the edge. So paving the paradigm shift from cloud to edge, bringing computing resources closer to where the data is generated. At the same time, the middle part, the edge, also has a complex management path, dealing with this complexity of devices for a group of distributed devices and keeping that stable and secure. So what we're aiming at, federating far edge resources ad hoc via wireless 5G or mesh networks to provide cloud resources closer to the edge, but also including a device management. So in possible proposals and projects, we want to see use cases underpinning the trend Cloud-Edge-IoT. It could be connected car, connected driving, where the car has more computing capacity and to do decisions when the car is driving. Could be farming, where the tractor is collecting more information about the field, about using pesticides, about developing and growing of seed of the plants. Could be linked to energy, where the target is to integrate more renewable energy sources and to keep the grid stable. Could be linked to manufacturing, where established systems and control systems are increasingly combined with wireless communication, 5G communication on a local stage. Also, what we want to see as a key selling point in the proposal, to expand on the key technology drivers. Where's innovation? We name a few of them, not to be complete. For instance, reasoning on the edge, integrating new types of chips and new types of processing, being able to process artificial intelligence algorithms at the edge, as such incorporating learning, dealing with complex environments, decision making, working under uncertain environments, and dealing with complex events on the go, on the spot. Real-time response, I explained already. Looking at the third feature is enhanced security. As mentioned, avoiding sending data around the globe, filtering data and keeping sensitive data confined locally for further processing will increase the security of the system. Green solutions, we expect that decentralized edge computing solutions would be, for them, it would be easier to incorporate distributed renewable resources, and as such benefit from renewable energy and reducing the carbon footprint. The core of all that exercise is Cloud-Edge-IoT orchestration, how to deal with advances from the cloud, advances in learning and AI learning in the cloud, deploying AI algorithms, providing software patches, or delivering new functions and functionalities over the air towards the edge of the devices. The end vision is a seamless service architecture across the computing continuum, across a heterogeneous computing environment, and offering new business models and new services for European industry, especially small companies and startups. So actually, I try to wrap up. This is the set of topics we have in the next 2 years. You see 3 research topics on edge operating systems, programming environments, and cognitive cloud. You see a support of 2 CSAs, one for coordination of particular projects in the area of Cloud-Edge-IoT, and one linked to roadmap for the next generation of computing and systems. That will be complemented by a research topic on open source for cloud-based services. But for your attention, for this year and with a deadline in October, we only call for the 2 CSAs to start this year, as well as only one research topic. So the next slide is quite complex. I will not go into the detail, but for you to know, that at the starting of Horizon Europe, we plan a holistic approach, a strategic approach for the coming years beyond the first 2 years of the work program. Built on the blue box, there are 3 research objectives, as mentioned, programming environments for decentralized intelligence at the edge. The topic which is open now, which is future European platforms for edge meta operating systems. And next year, we have a topic on cognitive cloud. So these are the 3 core research topics, complemented by the brown box on open source and open source technologies. And we are planning beyond the 2 years a vertical support for vertical research and innovation, putting certain domains in the lead for pilots in emerging smart industrial IoT domains and edge computing systems, and is planned for 2023. But that completes a bit the strategy. We started working on the strategy now, but as thing, of course, it's not fully mature, it's not fully developed. This is an ongoing effort accompanying the call and also the projects when we launch it. Some more information you will find from a recent strategy forum where we had stakeholder consultation. It's a first starting point that will also continue as an independent forum once the projects have been selected and we move on to the next topics next year. So it was clear that this topic already is of interest for leading cloud providers and internet giants, so there's fierce competition. It's also quite clear that European companies can't do it alone to compete on an international scale. So we look for partnering among key European stakeholders to grow the opportunity, multi-vendor partnerships and alliances, with a strong focus on system integration platform as one element, supported by ecosystems and alliances as a dynamic element, building up the community in the ecosystem in Europe. And we want to see if you want to have your feedback on visionary concepts, largely also built into the proposals selected. So the report is available on the internet, but the following talk presented by Haydn Thompson as a rapporteur of the event gives you more details on the findings of the strategy forum. So actually you find a link to relevant information. This was an introduction and the topics recording for the CSA, as well as the one research innovation topic on edge meta operating systems, you find also on the internet. Thanks for your attention, and I pass the floor to Haydn, I suppose, before we can answer burning questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rolf. If you can stop sharing your screen so that Haydn can take over.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And I'm mute myself.
And just in the meantime, please, everybody, mute yourself and turn off your video if you are not a speaker. We cannot turn off videos and mute people individually. It's really disturbing the presentation if we can hear your background noises. Thank you very much.
Haydn, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, well, hopefully everyone can hear me. So Rolf's already said that we had a number of meetings this year. We had a Fireside chat meeting earlier this year, and we had a strategy forum meeting, which was a much bigger meeting, where we discussed the next generation IoT and what are the drivers and what are the needs in the sector. First of all, in terms of drivers, Rolf gave a very good overview of what's going on within the sector. As we know, the Internet of Things is very fast growing. It's predicted to be a $1.3 trillion market by 2026, so that's in the next 5 years. And the Fireside chat meeting very much brought together some leading industrialists and experts in the field, and they really highlighted the fact that edge computing really is the logical evolution of the cloud model which we have at the moment, for a variety of reasons. For the reasons of trying to reduce the amount of data we send to the cloud, for the need to provide real-time operation at the edge, for security, for privacy, etc., and also for reducing the energy of systems in the future. Now, this offers an opportunity for Europe in that, as Rolf highlighted, currently the cloud market is dominated by US players. 80% of the global revenues are actually accounted for by a few US players. Now, if as predicted, the data processing moves towards the edge, and it's predicted about 80% of the data processing analytics will move to the edge, this opens up a huge opportunity for new business and for people to get a share of this new market. So we talk about the Internet of Intelligent Things for the future. And so following on from that meeting, we had a strategy forum workshop which brought together a larger number of people, over 400 stakeholders and experts, to actually come up with a strategic European vision about where we wanted to go in the next 5 years. So going back to the Fireside chat meeting, as I highlighted, the idea of moving towards edge computing was very much seen as a strong point for the future, and really it's seen as an opportunity for Europe. The intersection between the cloud world and the operational world is somewhere where Europe is very, very strong. And also the winners in the market will be the ones that understand the functional and non-functional requirements for the sectors. And of course, Europe has leading companies in the area of automotive, in aerospace, in automation, etc. So it's a big opportunity. And the other thing which was floated at this meeting was the idea of a balanced approach, a strategic approach of a larger initiative to try and bring together people, and also with underpinning activities as well. And this was very much supported in the meeting. So the meeting really highlighted the strengths of Europe in the operational world and in sectoral requirements. It highlighted the key need and pressing need actually for IoT and edge computing platforms and orchestration mechanisms to support this. And there was also strong support for the strategic actions which bring together the various different activities, because we're talking about this cloud continuum between the edge and the cloud. And there's lots of things we can link with. There's things going on like Excel, which is moving to the KDT. And the key thing is that we work on trusted multi-vendor open orchestration integration platforms. And also we work on marketplaces which allow people to do fair business. And the other thing which came out of the meeting was the need for making sure that we also make sure that things link with other complementary activities, the things like the activities on common data spaces and the work on federated cloud infrastructure. So all of these things come together to create these edge computing platforms. Now, the strategy forum meeting was a much larger meeting, as I said, and here we had a number of sectors came along to present what their needs in the area of systems integration platforms. In the energy sector, there's a big move towards renewables, there's a move towards smart metering, and also there's a whole electrification of the automotive industry, which is leading towards working across different sectors. And really, there's a realization that we can't build the future energy systems on the silos of the past. When we look to the automotive industry were very clear about the fact that the big need really is a common integration platform for future cars. So this is not only for electric cars, but also for automation in cars as well, autonomous cars. In the industrial automation sector, there is actually a growing convergence between the operational technologies on the shop floor and the information technologies which are used to optimize systems, processes, and also the logistics supply chains. And here there's a need to bring those together, which naturally creates IoT. The semiconductor industry highlighted that actually they fit into all the different sectors. So their processors and their communications devices, communication chips, are needed in all the different sectors. And we have in Europe some leading know-how in embedded applications. And this is going to be one of the key differentiators for winning some of these markets. In the area of the data-driven city, and it's quite interesting because this covers many, many different things. It covers things like smart transportation, it covers smart energy, it covers things like e-governance, etc. And here, the key thing is really trust, and citizens need to be able to trust these systems. So we need to create a trusted environment. And also these systems are going to be highly complicated with many complicated interactions. And so we need to make sure they're secured and they're also manageable. In the home automation sector, it was clear that at the moment, interoperability is a big issue. There's many companies producing pieces of kits and smart devices for home automation. However, we need to be able to connect these together. And so the Zigbee Alliance, which is now the Connectivity Standards Alliance, highlighted the need for standards in this area to interconnect things, but also the move towards connecting also to the internet with these devices as well. The standardization bodies highlighted this need for cross-domain applications, and this introduces some interesting questions about what do we publish from one domain to another domain so that we can make sure that we can have interoperability between domains. So really the key message is that non-functional requirements are a key driver in all of the application domains. Now, also, one of the key things we need to do is develop ecosystems and alliances. And in the meeting, a number of these came along and presented their views on what were the key leads in these sectors. Gaia-X, you may have heard of, is a French-German initiative which is looking at data spaces. And they highlighted very much the need to provide facilitation for data spaces to allow interactions, and trusted data spaces to allow people to do that. ETSI-MEC, which is looking at a standard for multi-access edge computing, highlighted the need for open APIs that could be used in edge applications, and this is important for SMEs and mid-caps who want to generate new businesses, but also for larger companies as well. AECC is the alliance, which is interesting in that it was developed originally by a Japanese automotive player to cover a specific systems integration problem, and many other companies now joined this. And this, one of the things they highlighted really is that there's a need to make sure that any alliance and ecosystem is really considering the global market and is a global ecosystem, because many of these markets actually sell to a global market. The Artemis Industry Association represents a number of sectors. They represent transport, they represent health and well-being, they represent industry, industrial automation, and they highlighted the need for a pan-European strategy for collaboration, and also the fact that there's many roadmaps out there already, and it would be good to use these for the future, and there's opportunities for joint public-private funding and also for work on standards across the field. The Linux Foundation highlighted that actually there's many open source projects going on already. There's over 400 of these at the moment, and actually there's a need to concentrate on the ones which provide high value in the market and also accelerate key markets. So there's a need to concentrate on the things which really will have an impact for the future. The Global Semiconductor Alliance has an activity looking at the security of future systems, and they have got a growing number of people from the semiconductor, electronics and software industry coming together, and they highlighted the need for trusted business alliances and also the need to try and monetize end-to-end solutions in the IoT value chain. The Eclipse Foundation provides a collaboration environment for open source projects, and they highlighted the need for clear positioning. Already there's a number of things going on. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. There are existing architectures out there. There are existing industrial offerings. We need to be careful that we don't keep reinventing things. And NESI, which represents the research in software area, highlighted the importance of software. And actually, it's a growing share of future applications. So this will become increasingly important as we move towards these new systems. Trust and trustworthiness, this was a topic which was given special attention in the meeting. Digital trust is key to digital transformation, and really to provide this we need trusted IoT and edge computing platforms and the orchestration mechanisms. Trust is built on a number of different things. There's data, and one of the things we're lucky in Europe is that we have GDPR, which is a way of helping with data sharing, trusted data sharing. There are still issues. Data collection needs to be minimized. At the moment, we're still collecting data on everything because we're not sure what is the useful information in that data. And also, we're not so good at deleting data at the moment when it's no longer required. And this is something which certainly helps with GDPR. Data policies are needed for transparency. And we also need ways of opting out of providing data as well if we don't want to share our data. In the AI sector, trustworthiness was identified as being a core characteristic of AI, and really if you're trying to sell AI solutions to people, it can be considered to be a business value and a unique selling point for your system. So this is very, very important. Considering systems level, where we're considering integrity, safety, availability, etc., and all these other things, the Takeda initiative highlighted that trustworthiness needs to be addressed as a first-class citizen in systems. And indeed, what we tend to do is build it in as an add-on, and really we need to think about it from the start. As you can imagine, liability was a topic which was discussed in quite a lot of depth, and we're all interested in who is responsible if something goes wrong. And really it was highlighted that there's many things we can do to actually look at the quality of the systems being produced, to say that we're producing quality systems, but really the main thing is that the system doesn't provide any surprises when it's operational. And really the key issue is the cost of certification. Can we do it, but also is it affordable, so we don't take ourselves out of the market. We also had a session looking to the future, and of course there's many different technologies coming together. We have IoT, we have edge computing, we have AI, we have various wireless technologies, we have digital twins, etc. And we're beginning to hear new terms being coined in the research literature. We've got artificial intelligence of things, we have the Internet of Intelligent Things, and we have swarm intelligence. And so we wanted to have a view of where things are going. IoT, which represents the IoT sector, highlighted the move towards collective intelligence and the need for intelligent orchestrators for heterogeneous systems, and also the need for swarm computing concepts. The EOS Open Platform, which is creating a platform for mobile devices and smartphones, trying to unbundle hardware and software and provide an alternative to Android and Apple, highlighted the need for these platforms. The HighPeak, which is looking at embedded systems, highlighted the need to build upon existing technologies, as many of the things that we need already exist to some extent. So containerization exists, APIs exist, etc., and apps exist. All of these things exist already, but we need to build upon those rather than have a revolution in what we're doing. The 5G sector highlighted the need for strong collaboration and the need for end-to-end orchestration and easy-to-use APIs using portable software. OpenNebula has been developing a platform for edge computing, and they highlighted the need for a European open source solution for this rather than relying on foreign solutions. Fortis, the Industrial Internet of Things people from Fortis, highlighted the fact that future platforms need to support intermittent connectivity and mobility. So many applications will be ones which connect to a system and then disconnect from a system. And so we need to be able to deal with that in our systems. Threefold Tech are working on a cut down version of Linux for the edge, and they highlighted the fact that actually future systems are going to be extremely complicated with many interactions, and one of the things that we will need is a high degree of automation in these systems just in order to manage them. The Terminate project is working on an IoT reference model amongst other things, and they highlighted the need for a reference architecture, particularly to deal with flexible decentralized systems in the future. So to conclude, there are many opportunities. It's a huge opportunity for Europe in edge computing applications. We're seeing a shift in the market towards this. Europe has key strengths in industrial sectors such as manufacturing and automotive. Data is at the heart of new policies, and we're seeing the operational technologies coming together with the information technologies to create IoT applications, and this is very, very interesting. The key differentiator in the future will be in providing trusted orchestration platforms to support the non-functional and functional requirements of the application domains. And the good news is that Europe is a leader in these domains. In the area of AI, we need nodes which allow us to implement AI, and these will be a major share of future edge devices. We can see the killer app perhaps in this area is video processing, where we've got augmented reality, virtual reality, and autonomous driving. And the danger really is that these just become commodity apps in the future. Ecosystems, well, the good news is already there are many ecosystems which we can rely on, and we need to bring these together. And already these ecosystems are producing very useful roadmaps and information. So there's roadmaps identifying cognitive CPS containerization, and also future cloud edge and edge-to-edge interactions. There's also a need to focus on data sharing and interoperability across heterogeneous systems, and also thinking about the key things we need to do that. So we need to concentrate on standardization, we need to think about architectures, we need to think about governance, we need to think about open APIs, and also the ecosystems around those. And it's important that if we build these ecosystems, that they are open, they're global, and they're driven by requirements, because that's where the opportunity is. Looking at trustworthiness, I've identified trustworthiness is a unique selling point for business, and it's a property of the whole system, not just parts of the system. And one of the key messages really was that the system should be loyal to the user, not to the service provider or owner. And this is important because this means that we'll get acceptance by users in the future. Key issues are certification. First of all, how do we do it? And also, can we make it affordable? And other areas are authentication and security, where we need to have new cryptographic approaches to allow this. And looking to the way forward, Europe needs to concentrate on impact by building ecosystems around critical and high-value projects that accelerate the key markets which we're strong in already. And beyond functional demonstration, there's a strong need for acceptance testing, and also demonstration of the business models and business value around those.
Thank you very much, Haydn. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Okay, great.
So
sorry, please go ahead, Haydn. Okay, so
Hello.
I just wanted to share my screen for a second. As you know, we have planned a coffee break that was supposed to start at 10:30 here. We are in advance, so I would like to profit of the time that we have left, 10 minutes more. We will have a longer coffee break, but to reiterate a few points from the speakers. So let me put these slides on. Okay. So essentially, I think what's very important and what is emerging from the discussions and the presentations we had is that there is a convergence of technologies, and there is more and more intelligence. There is need of intelligence and presence of intelligence from the cloud to the edge. In order to be able to better process, but also to better eliminate the unused, the needless data. Now, in this shift, what is very important, I think, and what is the main call to the community is that there is a lot of work that is being done across different ecosystems, across different research domains. And today here we have the opportunity with this meeting to be able to connect the dots. Essentially, we need to bring people together that belong possibly to different communities, because there is an increasing need of convergence. Obviously, what I think it's also very important, and it was highlighted by Haydn in several points of his presentations, is that this is not only about technologies. What we are discussing today is of high relevance to a number of verticals, and in fact, business pull factors across these verticals are demanding for more intelligence and for a convergence of cloud, IoT, and edge computing technologies. The agenda is dense. What Haydn has been presenting us has a lot of it's a lot of food for thoughts. I think some of you might come back to these points throughout your pitches, throughout the discussions today. What I wanted to say is that the slides will be made available. So there's going to be the opportunity to come back to the major points that were highlighted. Now, given that we have a few minutes more, I wanted also to see if there are burning questions from the audience. If in the chat anyone has left a message, apart from muting your mics and videos.
Monique, maybe a comment from my side.
Yes, sure.
I think successful proposals, I think from our side, you know, that would have sort of, we're looking at strategic proposals. You mentioned on the one hand, and Haydn mentioned, the UB is strong on system integration. So the system aspect is sort of a key aspect. The second part is the support of an ecosystem. So bringing the critical dots together. Is that convincingly shown in a proposal, mobilizing these ecosystems? Also, the topic has an opportunity for cascading funds, meaning being able to extend the ecosystem and build on recent trends during the project stage. So that is an important element.
Thank you, Rolf. Haydn, did you want to add anything on top of what you were presenting? Haydn, you're muted. I guess Haydn doesn't have anything to... Oh, yeah, here you go. We cannot hear you. We can see you, but we cannot hear you.
Haydn, on the top, on the down left corner, the mute button.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. I seem to have a bad link I'm getting here. So there was a number of things which were highlighted. There's some underpinning characteristics of these systems. It was clear that trying to get user acceptance for these systems and make them systems which can be used by people and things which are commercially successful, trust was highlighted as being very important. This trusted data sharing is a very important aspect of these systems. So that's something which should be certainly thought about. And also the message that we need to think about demonstrating the business value of the solutions which we're doing. There's no point in just creating new pieces of software or new interactions or interoperability unless we can see the future for them. And I think the other thing which was highlighted was that there's many things that are already going on, and really we need to look at where the innovation is in where we go towards the future. So there are things like containerization, things like that, which already exist. But what do we really want to do for the future to create new business value? And so where are the innovations in this? So it'd be quite interesting to see in the pitches which are coming up where the innovations are in the work that's proposed, and also what's been addressed. The different business sectors I think are interesting, because Rolf mentioned that there were some underrepresented sectors like farming, where there's a slow, less of a uptake of IoT in some of the sectors, and I think there's opportunities and very large opportunities in some of these sectors to actually create new interesting areas. So we tend to concentrate on automotive, we tend to concentrate on industrial automation, but there's many other areas where we can see there's opportunities. And I think the other thing which is quite interesting and will certainly be a feature of future systems is this business of working across different domains. So we see interactions between the energy domain, the automotive domain, and we can see that there are opportunities for people to work together across domains to actually create much more better systems. This becomes very, very interesting when we move to things like the smart city and the data-driven city, where we can see interactions between many, many different systems. So we might see your home automation system talking to your car as your car drives in. Your car might be using the battery in the car to actually power your house in the future. There's all sorts of interesting potential interactions which we could think about. But of course, this means working across multiple domains and also working between many, many different standards which are already out there. So I think there's some interesting opportunities.
Thank you, Haydn. In the meantime, I see a couple of questions here. One is probably for you, Rolf. It says in one of the calls mentioned the time-triggered IoT concept. Could you please further elaborate on it or provide some examples?
Yeah, I think that's quite a technology question. I think it came from, if you take the area of manufacturing, the time-sensitive network and the TSN protocol has been sort of established. But I think there are open challenges related to how you can integrate, control new types of networking protocols like TSN with emerging wireless networks, including 5G campus networks, for instance. How can you put all these different standards together and how you build a service on top of that? That maybe comes from the manufacturing domain. But also, as mentioned by Haydn, taking that example and moving to the automotive domain, the new topology of computing architecture of a car will be completely different. It will be more centralized, but you still need time-sensitive applications in sort of a star-like or HPC-like architecture. So can you apply these sort of beyond what is the role of time-triggered communication buses then in that future, and how to apply and how to deploy time-sensitive functions and control algorithms in that context. So I think there's one technology innovation, one domain we want to see it. How can it apply it as an innovative concept in other domains? And that was one example.
Thank you, Rolf. Thank you. There's another interesting question. This is to Haydn. Can you elaborate about trustworthiness? as a value, as a core capability, as a unique selling point? Are these different? Do you expect different levels to be offered to the market, and how to demonstrate? Not an easy question.
I think we cannot hear you, but we hear the background noise of some participant. Please mute yourself if you're not a speaker. Thank you.
Maybe I can give a comment.
Yes.
When Haydn is still connecting. The trust and trustworthiness. You have seen that the Commission made a proposal for a Digital Governance Act, which builds sort of a trusted ecosystem around data governance and data sharing. And here now, if you talk about Cloud-Edge-IoT computing, we go beyond that, meaning, we not only want to have data sharing, we also want to trust the deployment of new algorithms deployed from the cloud to the edge and the services and control. So we have a very dynamic system, what sort of governance algorithms exist or could be anticipated in the sort of increased complexity of the value chain on the one hand, and what technologies can be built into the systems to support trustworthy systems, to keep the system trustworthy, safe, and secure. And that is a sort of very complex task. We don't, I think in my personal opinion is we don't expect complete solutions in proposals. You should mention that as a challenge, and it's our task to have that of a horizontal activity accompanying the proposals in order to discuss with the industry what sort of features, possibilities for or governance mechanisms would emerge, which avoid creating islands of edge infrastructure, and keeping sort of a standard framework, a code of conduct, or a standard governance framework to control the cloud edge IoT device interaction. Maybe Heidi, you may compliment me if you online again.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether you can hear me, but certainly trust is a key issue, and the problem with trust is it's built up on many different areas. We talk about trusted data sharing, where we need the governance to provide that. We need to have all sorts of things in place, including regulation in that area. In the area of security, we need to think about the encryption and the authentication, who has access to these systems, etc. So this is a key issue as well. And then we talk about trust in terms of, if we had an autonomous car, for instance, we talk about whether we're safe, so the safety integrity of it. We also worry about the availability of systems, which is another factor in trust. And so there's many different aspects to trust, and we can address certain aspects of that. And I would assume that the projects which are pitched will actually address some of those aspects, but maybe not address all of them, as Rolf said, because it's such a huge topic in itself. And really, trust is something which is built up from historical data as well. So certainly, if you're working in the safety critical field, you tend to talk about having historical applications, and you use the data from previous applications to justify your case for the safety of a system. So historical data on trust is important, and also the historical interactions you have with different businesses. So you build up trust in federated systems based upon how much you trust certain suppliers and this. And so there's many aspects to trust, and it's a topic which is huge in itself, with many different aspects, and I don't think we're going to solve all of the problems, but certainly if some of those things can be tackled, that would be a major step forward, I feel.
Thank you, Haydn. From the audience, there are questions about recordings of the plenary sessions. Yes, the answer is yes, we will have it. Also, the slides will be shared. And actually, if there's any news or highlights, please make sure that you are registered to the newsletter, the NGIoT newsletter, so you will receive automatically any highlight and any updates that will be published in the next weeks, months, actually. So I would like to thank Rolf and Haydn for their time, for their insightful presentations. There's a lot that, of course, could be discussed about the topics that we've been exploring this morning. Now we will have a coffee break, which actually, if I'm not wrong, will last 15 minutes. And then the plan is to restart at 10:45 with the Cloud-Edge-IoT pitch session, which will be moderated by my colleague, Dr. Verena Woodridge. And there it's going to be the time actually to explore on the pitches that have been presented. So
maybe a last word from my
Sure.
side. If you prepare proposals, as I said, we're looking a bit on strategic proposals. So if you're in touch with another proposal, instead of having two competing proposals, think of bringing together key application domains and merging your effort, which increases your chances. Because we cannot go have a large number of proposals. I think we're looking only at 4 or 5 strategic proposals to be funded, and as a sort of a crystallization point, as a starting point for the strategy. So I think in principle, less is more, because we need this close collaboration with the proposal in order to build up a strategy. So we cannot expand to a large number of proposals at this point in time.
Thank you, Rolf. Do not compete against yourself. That's a key message. Thank you very much, Rolf. So we have a break. Verena, I don't know.